You're watching Camnet News. Thank you so much for choosing us. My name is Sharon Kalimbola. The top stories on our desk this evening. A police officer testifies how he witnessed a UPND supporter hack a PF cadre with a machete. Political violence reports ahead of the KABWATA by-election annoy stakeholders. Zambia records 153,000 new HIV infections in 12 months. In international news, Burkina Faso shuts Facebook, and in sports, England to play Ivory Coast in a friendly at Wembley.
Camnet TV is becoming big and better. You can now watch Camnet TV wherever you are around the world, simply by downloading the Camnet TV app. With Camnet TV app, you only use less bundles. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Once again, thank you for choosing us. The news in detail. With a rise in street vending on account of inadequate trading space in markets, the Lusaka Union of Marketers has called for stakeholder involvement at the grassroots level when dealing with the welfare of market traders around the country. In an interview with Camnet News, Union Secretary General Moffat Mangoni says market unions stands ready to complement government's effort by assessing available market space in the country in order for the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development to formulate a proper market space allocation plan. Meanwhile, traders at Lusaka City Market have urged their fellow traders who left the market in preference for the fast business on the streets to consider going back to a formal trading place as they risk missing out economic opportunities such as empowerment. Details in this report.
The market sector is one part of the economy that has been in disarray in Zambia for the past few years. This sector has seen various wrangles, from pending displacements due to the alleged sale of markets to the filling of streets by vendors claiming that markets are filled to capacity. According to latest data from Lusaka Town Clerk Mr. Alex Mwansa and Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development Permanent Secretary Mr. Mamboha Maundu, some market spaces in places like City and Soweto markets in Lusaka have been abandoned by traders who have opted for fast business on the streets. Lusaka Union of Marketers Secretary General Mr. Moffat Mangoni says to solve the problems affecting the market sector in Zambia, market unions and cooperatives should be engaged to brainstorm on problems and potential solutions. He says they stand ready to help in assessing the capacity of abandoned market spaces, to help in allocation of market spaces to traders on the streets.
If they can facilitate a platform where we can work together and identify and audit some empty spaces in these markets, it will be very easy to mop out the street vending and put them into the right position. So the only problem is that we are pleading with the government to identify the stakeholders like Lusaka Marketers to work with so that this problem can be sorted out.
Mr. Mangolwa has also warned those in the habit of abandoning markets for the streets of missing out on the economic benefits of trading in markets.
I think they will have that advantage of getting more benefit to improve their businesses. So far as Lusaka Marketers, we are trying to, we're in the process of acquiring some loans, cheap loans, which have got no collateral. You can imagine, for one to get a loan, you have to have some collateral. But here is the facility which are saying as long as you are in the market and the market leaders are able to identify you, you can get that loan. Those are the benefits we are looking at. So I think it's more organized. In terms of health, again, I think we protect our lives. There's better sanitations in the markets, unlike in the streets.
Traders at City Market have expressed hope in the United Party for National Development UPND administration following its promise of equal distribution of empowerment among traders under the new administration. They have urged those on the streets to return to legal trading places if to benefit, while calling for increased sensitization on the market empowerment funds.
Government there are few, so my appeal to the government to government at least in such a way.
Women empowerment, especially so at least my business was boosting up.
Yeah, previous governments thing so I expected to something at the end. So that take a boost to my business to what can never pass of gold. They may take it as my youths and my marketeers.
Stakeholders in the market sector have been calling for order and sanity, stating that markets are one of the major economic activities for Zambian citizens. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Concerned residents of Lusaka's Bauleni compound in Lusaka Central Constituency Friday shared challenges faced by the community as the fight inequality protest takes off. Residents have cited lack of access to clean water, poor sanitation, and high unemployment levels, and calls for equal distribution of wealth facilitate their well-being as urgent needs the authority must address. In an interview with Camnet TV, Kablonga Ward 19 area councillor Kosam Tembo has assured the people of Bauleni that the new administration will, through his office, meet various needs of the people, especially with the increased constituency development fund.
Situated right in the middle of the Lusaka Central Constituency, alongside its neighboring townships such as Kabulonga, Ibex Hill, Minwood and Leopards Hill, areas considered to be of the elite, Bauleni is a peri-urban community of Lusaka with a long history of achievements, not to mention its challenges such as the lack of access to clean water and high level of unemployment. As Zambia joins the global protest to fight inequality, dubbed Time to Tax the Rich, aimed at calling for a people's recovery plan for an end to spiraling inequality crippling societies globally. Concerned residents of Bauleni of Lusaka Central Constituency have shared their challenges faced by the community, ranging from the youth to mothers in streets.
815 for munga 150 manzi kunevuta vonse nikugula so boma yanganepo pali ma inform yabana pa maskulu na unga yanganepo boma sitizakwanisa bana futhi akaleko punzira zambo kamba kuti bana bazamba kuba bakamba kuba bana akamba tini majanki makolo tialekelele yanganepo boma so mukama pali zingati 850 school inform ya mwana grade 1 so yanganepo boma 850 ngaito semkalembla
yanyanya sitizakwanisa 850 palichani hapa ma grade 1 palichani palikulisa kulipe ni nkono micheya amene yavuta.
As the youth lament over the unemployment levels.
Yaboko sikambyo kambate teba tipshe kwa government kabiri baure na kwa tamaini kuli Kings Big 3 wai wakonda abantu wakabangesa machite wapanga kwati ma peace week lasa makampani ya kuru yafunika abura ma contract forms
basilase tikutamu wakamba zimbeto mwato mwa kantina tena bebetu manzi novuta makolo bato kutika buta tomato era pala otipya situruki bushashena so betu ona shapa so apa bitiba maizi wai bati ya kumbuyo ke tira kwa shana baba
so mfuna chani
kashe bintu viwanga wakamba kashe ntuma ikonka baba kashe ntinasiza geto bonza kunatsa mazao titina na future changes.
During the event, Kablonga Ward 19 Councillor Kosam Tembo has assured the people of Bauleni that the new administration will, through his office, meet the various needs of the people, especially with the increased Constituency Development Fund, CDF.
We're trying to decentralize the opportunity that every member of our community must have as a key to their warfare in the community. Let's talk of one of it like free education. New Dawn government has brought a policy that everyone, each individual within our community must access education regardless of their background. Under DEBS have released a circular to say no any government school is allowed to sell school uniforms, and parents have not been restricted to buy school uniforms just from government schools, but they can get school uniforms anywhere where they're comfortable with, as long as the color code and the design matches with the requirements of the school.
Further, Ward Development Committee Vice Chairperson Irene Simasiku says the committee is set for the change that will come with the implementation of the fund.
The vulnerable people, we've got a lot of people in Bowlen, a lot of children who are not going to school because they haven't been given bursaries, and that's what we are trying to promote. We want everybody to be the same, to be treated the same, whether coming from Kablonga, whether coming from the Bowlen, we are all the same people.
Meanwhile, Des Mwilima, the National Coordinator for Fighting Inequality Zambia, has explained the ultimate goal for the campaign.
A lot of inequalities that we can see. It's situated right at the center of the prestigious Lusaka Central constituency. And I don't know, does it look like King's Landing to anyone? No. No? How about Kablonga? It doesn't. So we're here last week. We came to support the community. We came to support the councillor and the MP as well, as they were having a community forum with the community members to just speak through what are some of the challenges and how can these challenges be resolved.
Alex Shimba, Camnet News, in Lusaka.
The Commuter magazine team leader, Liswaniso Mwanalushi, is disappointed at what he terms as high levels of ignorance some stakeholders are exhibiting on mental health. He was reacting to a recent development on social media and mainstream spaces that have brought out some strange behavioral patterns among citizens, especially women, who are struggling with particular aspects of their social and economic lives. Mr. Mwanalushi is disturbed that individuals who should help vulnerable young women to access crucial support services to enhance their mental well-being are instead being abused through the media. He points out the mental health challenges are driven by social factors such as poverty, joblessness, alcohol and substance abuse, breakdown in family union, and a general sense of despair and hopelessness as people struggle to cope with the stress of life. He has since demanded that the Minister of Health, Sylvia Masebo, establish the Mental Health Council and ensure that it is funded.
We are further disturbed that individuals who should help vulnerable young women to access crucial support services to enhance their mental well-being are instead abusing them through the media. We are sending a wake-up call to the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services to sit up and perform their roles to ensure that mental health services are accessible at community level and that individuals experiencing mental health breakdowns in the community are attended to through community-based support systems as envisioned in the Mental Health Act of 2019. Furthermore, we want the public to know that exploiting a person with a mental disability for personal gain is unlawful and can attract serious sanctions under the law. Sections 5 and 6 of the Mental Health Act provides that a person shall respect, safeguard the dignity, and uphold the rights of the mental patient.
A special education teacher at one of the community schools in Lusaka's Ngombe compound has bemoaned the state of special education in the country. In an interview, Mrs. Rachel Chomba narrates that while problems faced by the mainstream education sector are being addressed by the United Party for National Development Administration, the special education sector still lacks adequate stationery such as special education teaching and learning materials, resulting in poor performance for the learners. Meanwhile, Special Education Teachers Union Secretary General Cornelius Chitukwa has backed calls from the concerned special education teachers, stating that while special education schools lack these learning materials, most of them can be locally made.
The achievement of Zambia's development has placed education as one of the drivers to this destination. In this vein, Various pronouncements have been made in the education sector by the United Party for National Development UPND administration, all aimed at improving the service delivery of education and increasing teacher motivation. On the other hand, special education sector teachers feel unheard, stating that while facing many challenges, the procedure of handling their plight has not been fully addressed by the new administration. In an interview, Ms. Rachel Chomba, a special education teacher in Lusaka, explains that this sector is understaffed, with some districts only having one teacher. She says to this effect, the expected 30,000 teacher recruitment should have a minimum allocation of 10,000 special education teachers.
We have so many schools, special education schools, who are short-staffed. Like in different districts, sometimes schools are being managed by about 3 teachers. And they have, which is increasing the teacher-pupil ratio. So if we have more teachers, they can be able to handle the learners well, because one child with a disability is equal to about 10 children without disabilities. Each child needs individual planning. I know sometimes they feel like special education schools are few, and we can only post a few teachers there, and that's enough. But you should keep in mind that when planning for a child with special education needs, you need to plan for a child's individual strengths, individual weaknesses, so that you know what the child needs, how the child can benefit from the classroom experience.
Meanwhile, the Copper Belt-based Special Education Teachers Union says this sector is in complete disarray, which has contributed to poor performance of pupils. In a phone interview, Union Secretary General Mr. Cornelius Chitukwa says despite commitments to make special education materials like Braille in Zambia, the mission has remained abandoned.
We don't have teaching and learning materials for learners with special education needs, especially for those using Braille. The styluses, the hand frames, the pocket frames, the cubism boards, the cubes, the types, the teraframes, those are things which are never seen. And you realize that like a population of more than 120 children, and then you just have 10 styluses and 10 pocket frames, the hand frames, the whole school. So how are they going to realize the homework policy, for instance? Because it means if this class is doing a written exercise, the other class can do a written exercise because of lack of the same equipment.
The stakeholders in the special education sector have called for reformation under the UPND administration, including renovation of these schools to include special features such as ramps. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Government has reaffirmed its commitment to increase access to livelihood support for vulnerable people through the provision of basic needs of life. Petauke District Commissioner Martha Mulenga said this when she flagged off the disbursement of the social cash transfer funds to beneficiaries for November and December 2021 in Petauke Thursday. A total of 5,453,000 kwacha has been allocated for the social cash transfer program to beneficiaries in the district. Details in this report.
The social cash transfer scheme, despite being a progressive program, has been marred with challenges in the implementation process, the common one being the untimely disbursement of resources, especially in provinces like Zambia's capital, Lusaka. When received, this money means a lot to the beneficiaries. The people of Petauke district received their money for the months of November and December 2021, much to the excitement of the beneficiaries.
zutithandiza kutwala vana kumasukulu kuponso oneka kuti umphawi lomba wachepa nako tuonekako bwino lopa mang'anda kaliyedwe konse tuoneka bwino.
Petauke District Commissioner Martha Mulenga explains that in the last quarter of 2021, the program has been scaled up from 17,015 beneficiaries to 18,188, out of which 955 are households with a person with disability, while 17,233 are households without any person with a disability. Mrs. Mulenga has advised the beneficiaries to use the social cash transfer fund for profit-making opportunities.
Gente kasebenzeshe mubwino lelo titole ndalama zilazelembewa kale koma pandalama ziti ziwele mu January na February tikatole muyeso wa chinji wa nyuani ang'anda pali people living with disability bala vana chilema pang'anda kuvuli huku tezotola 600 koma chino chaka tiambe kutola 800 kwacha pang'anda pakuti epitamo basi wakaona kuti apa pali muntu ovutikira ofunika kutandiziwa ezotola 300 kwacha ayambe kutola 400 kwacha. Petauke district pamozi na Lusangazi tina bantu 18,188.
And Petauke District Welfare Officer Moffat Pili explains that the government is up to date with the payment of the social cash transfers.
So we wish to just express our gratitude to the government for considering the plight of the vulnerable and also ensuring that their well-being is well taken care of. We move in ensuring that all the deserving beneficiaries receive their money, and also there are also other activities that we have lined up at the district as per.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
In other news, continued reports of political violence in Lusaka's KABWATA constituency ahead of the 3rd February 2022 parliamentary by-election has angered the Anti-Political Violence Association of Zambia. In an interview, Organization General Secretary Davison Zulu says concerned stakeholders should sit and discuss effective ways of ending the vice as it has the potential to cause voter apathy. Various social media platforms have been awash with bloody images of the United Party for National Development supporters in a case where suspected Patriotic Front supporters allegedly attacked a bus carrying UPND supporters on Wednesday during nominations for the by-election.
Also appeal to residents of KABWATA constituency as there will be the by-elections in February on the 4th. And we all know that the campaigns were launched yesterday. So we appeal to all well-meaning citizens of KABWATA constituency to stay away from political violence. Let's embrace each other. Let's show love to one another as we are doing our campaigns. Let's do our campaigns peacefully so that we don't have to experience any political violence. Because once there is violence, it will lead to voter apathy. And a lot of people who stay away won't exercise their rights to vote. So as Anti-Political Violence Association of Zambia, we are appealing to you to please maintain peace in KABWATA constituency and all parts of this country, because we need peace, you need peace, everyone else needs peace.
Finance Minister Dr. Stombeko Msokotwane has urged financial providers in the country to consider financing rural small and medium businesses in order to enable them procure equipment for their businesses. The Finance Minister says increased financing to Constituency Development Fund will allow small and medium businesses tap into the opportunity, but productivity will be affected if businesses do not have the right equipment. And Bankers Association of Zambia President Herman Kasikende has wondered why the country has skilled vocational training institutions which equip people with the right skills to undertake businesses. Details in this report.
Access to local financing for most small and medium businesses in Zambia has over the years continued to be a challenge and has contributed to the failure of most SMEs. Financial providers in the country, such as banks, find it difficult to finance startup businesses due to the risks involved. However, Finance Minister Dr. Stombeko Msokotwane, who spoke at the opening session of the Bankers Association of Zambia engagement with DRZ in Lusaka Friday, has since urged financial providers to consider providing financing to rural small and medium businesses in order to enable them procure equipment, even as the government looks to decentralization through the Constituency Development Fund.
But the young people and those other people in the rural areas who will be doing these things will also require helping hands from the financial community, such as themselves, so that they can procure the simple tools that can enhance their productivity. To give an example, if a young man gets a contract supplying this to school, and then he manufactures those using the hand tools of the soul.
And the Bankers Association of Zambia, in response, has wondered why the vocational skills centers have been killed in Zambia, stating that no amount of financing will improve small and medium enterprise if they are not equipped with the right skills.
Most of our vocational institutes are preferred or went to the more modern offering degrees and all that. But at the end of the day, there is an issue, the challenge of employability. We churn out thousands of graduates every year, but unfortunately, and this we have to talk about, as employers, when we take them in, we have to train from zero. And I think that needs to be addressed.
And Science and Technology Minister Felix Mtati says the government has signed a contract with 80 institutions to train on average 60 youths in every constituency of Zambia, and that the deployment of the program will commence in February of 2022.
We have so far signed contracts with 80 institutions combined, the ones that are under the letter, for example, even in non-tech, and so on and so forth, and other private sector. This will be able to provide the training on average of 60 youths in every constituency.
Meanwhile, local government minister, who is the implementing agency of the Constituency Development Fund, Gary Nkombo, together with his counterpart in the Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprise, Elias Mubanga, are confident that the right financing to SMEs will help improve their businesses.
The time in anyone's life with the prevailing situation of 1.4 million youths and also others that do not have jobs, that this component of soft loans, which we expect the banking institution, once we harmonize the legislation that is available, that you're going to take full participation to make sure that this succeeds. But as government, we would like first to identify potential in our people to be trained in skills.
Prudence Chota reporting for Camnet TV News.
Lusaka-based economist Trevor Hambai has charged that the country's Investment Act does not favor the growth of small and medium enterprises due to the high tax rate involved. Mr. Hambai has told Camnet News in an interview that the Act only favors foreign direct investors who come with huge capital above $250,000 United States dollars threshold, which automatically qualifies them for tax holidays. Mr. Hambai says small businesses fail to grow because most of the capital made goes to paying taxes. He has since called on government to consider revising the Investment Act in favor of small and medium businesses in the country.
The policy that supports SMEs in this country is the same one that supports foreign direct investors, which is the Investment Act. And the Investment Act basically gives incentives to an entity that invests a certain amount of money, except that threshold that we do have is beyond the Zambian SMEs' capacity. So they're not able to obviously take advantage of this because the threshold is too high. You have to invest a minimum of $250,000 for you to get fiscal incentives, which is what you hear around the tax holidays. Whereas an SME who starts having to do business today will have to pay tax immediately because they do not have a tax holiday. And this is taking away the little money that they have to be able to invest back into the business because they have to pay tax. This benefit is not the same with the FDI. The FDI can reinvest back their money that they're generating because they don't have to pay tax. And at the end of the year, they've also got an income tax holiday. So their profits are generally higher because of these incentives that we're giving them. So in essence, we really need to be able to change the policies to actually speak to supporting the domestic investment.
You're watching Camnet News. We take our first set of commercials. When we return, we have more interesting stories. Stay with us.
Deborah, have you connected to the Wi-Fi on the bus? It's fast, it's amazing. I've just downloaded my books and I'm about to complete the series. It's nice, too.
No, I'm actually watching a reality show. He's about to propose.
Oh, so sweet.
Make your trip seem short yet comfortable and safe when you use the UBZ luxurious fully air-conditioned coaches that come fitted with amazing onboard entertainment, passenger information services, coffee-making facilities and fridge for your hot and cold beverages, free and interrupted Wi-Fi for your gadgets, phone charging facilities, comfortable seats that recline to offer extra resting posture, safety seat belts, adjustable reading lights for each traveling client, and of course, clean flushing toilets for your convenience. So travel in luxury and safety with UBZ luxurious coaches. UBZ will always take you there.
Very positive. And it looks like we'll be able to launch the ministry.
There's so much data.
Mom.
Yes, baby.
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
To all parents and guardians of the Camnet stars, be informed that there will be a meeting at the Healing Word Ministries International Church in Ibex Hill on 22nd January 2022. Time, 10 hours to 11:30 hours. The future of this nation is in the hands of your children.
And we are just preparing for the game next week, the friendly match. We are working really hard and preparing for our first match.
Camnet stars, the upcoming soccer giants in Zambia.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying on. Zambia police officer Inspector McDonald Mwamba has testified before the Lusaka High Court that he saw one among the 8 United Party for National Development cadres accused of murder hacking a Patriotic Front cadre David KABWATA with a machete. Testifying in a matter in which 8 UPND cadres are accused of murdering 2 opposition Patriotic Front cadres last year during the campaign period, Inspector Mwamba told Judge Charles Zulu that he saw Samson Mumba hacking Kaunda, who was laying on the ground while crying in pain. The state witness narrated that after noticing what was happening, he fired one shot in the air, which made Mumba and another person drop their machetes and bolt from the scene. Details in this report.
As the High Court was Friday morning expected to hear testimony from more than one witness in the alleged murder case involving 8 United Party for National Development cadres who are accused of killing 2 Patriotic Front cadres last year, the state applied for an adjournment after the court heard testimony from one witness on ground that they were having challenges to proceed with the matter and needed more time to reorganize themselves. And counsel representing the 8 says he hopes at the next court session the state would have organized themselves so that the matter can proceed, as his clients have been incarcerated since last year.
This matter has been adjourned to Tuesday next week. The state has indicated that they were having challenges to proceed with the matter and they wanted a bit of time to be in a position to reorganize themselves. In the interest of justice, I think we have protested as the defense that our clients have been arraigned, they have been detained since last year. And as you know, murder has got no bail. You can't go on bail, you can't go on police bond. So the state has been given the last opportunity to bring the witnesses, because they're the ones who brought my clients in court.
Earlier during trial, a state witness, Inspector McDonald Mwamba, testified before Judge Charles Zulu. So Samson Mumba, one of the accused, with another male suspect who were hacking the PF cadre David KABWATA with a machete. Inspector Mwamba, who first started his testimony by narrating how he and other officers rushed at the said scene, where it was alleged that the 2 camps had clashed. He found the accused hugging the deceased with a machete, but upon him firing one gunshot in the air, Mumba and the other male suspect fled the scene. This is in a case in which Samson Mumba, Kelvin Banda, John Mwanza, Njekwa Putao, Ruben Nalikana, John Walia have been jointly charged with 2 juveniles aged 16 with 2 counts of murder contrary to Section 200 of the Penal Code, Chapter 87 of the Laws of Zambia. They are accused of killing 2 PF cadres, Dan Kasongo and David Kabunda, on the 30th of July 2021 after UPND and PF cadres clashed in Lusaka's Kanyama compound during the campaign period. However, during cross-examination, the state witness, Inspector Mwamba, told court that he only saw the alleged machete used on Kabunda before he discharged the gunshot. He further informed the court that he was not aware that the 2 machetes that he presented before court were collected at the scene, despite testifying in his examination-in-chief that he was the team leader of the police team on the material day. Meanwhile, counsel representing the 8 accused had this to say shortly after the court adjourned the matter.
I want to assure the dear colleagues that the matter is in safe hands before the judiciary, independent public prosecution that we have in Zambia. Therefore, we are confident that they will arrange themselves and be able to bring the witnesses.
Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
We will continue to follow this story until it reaches its logical conclusion. In other news, but still in court, a 16-year-old boy of Lusaka's Kanyama compound has pleaded guilty before the Lusaka Magistrate Court for hitting another teenager in the head with a machete. This is in a case where the juvenile offender and 2 others are jointly charged with unlawful wounding and are alleged to have, on the 28th of August 2021, unlawfully wounded Enoch Tembo, aged 18. Facts before the court are that on the material day around 19 hours, the juvenile offender, who was in another male suspect, decided to produce a machete from his trousers and hit the complainant in the head, who he had found with a female friend seated on a war fence. Public prosecutor Sheria Meselo told the court that because of the injuries, the victims failed to go to the police training school and Kamfisa and has been living in fear. However, in mitigation, the juvenile offender's lawyers said his client deserves leniency because he pleaded guilty and never wasted the court's time. The court has set 28 February 2022 for presentation of a juvenile offender's social welfare report and trial in respect of 2 others who pleaded not guilty. In other news, government says 1.2 million Zambians are on the antiretroviral drugs, adding that in the last 12 months, the country has recorded 153,000 new HIV infections. Speaking to the media, Minister in charge of Health, Silva Maseva, says from the 153,000 infected, 144,000 are on ARVs. Ms. Maseva adds that most COVID-19 cases that are reported, 10% are of people living with HIV and 13% may be subjected to admissions if they don't take ARVs. Meanwhile, the country has in the last 24 hours recorded 616 new COVID-19 cases and 6 deaths.
Since the first identified case of AIDS in Zambia in 1984, HIV and AIDS has become increasingly widespread, with an estimated adult HIV prevalence of 14% in rural areas and 28% in urban areas in the age groups of 15 to 49. The Zambian government has granted the rights and freedoms of individuals through the constitution. These rights include the right of access to health and other social services without discrimination and also apply to workplace situations. Government says 1.2 million Zambians are on antiretroviral drugs, adding that in the last 12 months, the country has recorded 153,000 new HIV infections.
1.2 million Zambians are on the life-saving ARVs, members of the press, countrymen and women. Unfortunately, in the last 12 months alone, about 153,000 Zambians were newly found to have HIV infections. and 144,000 of these were started on ARVs. About 60% of all women newly found with HIV infection were between the ages of 20 and 34 years old.
Ms. Masebo has since called on HIV patients to take the uptake of ARVs seriously.
It also remains prudent that people with HIV must continue to take their routine medicines for maintenance of strong immunity. It is evident that the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted negatively on access to HIV testing and treatment.
The minister has also called on the members of the public to regularly check their HIV status. A multidimensional approach has therefore been adopted in dealing with the epidemic and its impact. For this to succeed, it is important that a partnership approach at international, regional, national, community, and individual levels is enhanced. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News.
The United Church of Zambia Secretary General Chipasha Musaba has called on UCZ members across the country and other well-wishers to urgently help rescue Nambala Secondary School in Mombwa District from the acute intra-cultural challenges the institution is facing. He noted that despite the harsh conditions the members of staff and learners are facing, the school has been instrumental in contributing to national development since its inception in 1915.
During a pastoral familiarization tour, a team comprising of the senior management staff of the United Church of Zambia, led by the Bishop, Reverend Sidney Sichilima, visited Nambala Secondary School in Mombwa District. Addressing the media, UCZ Secretary General Chipasha Musaba has called upon the UCZ membership across the country and other well-wishers to urgently help rescue the school from acute infrastructure challenges the institution is facing.
I'd like to call upon the general membership of the United Church of Zambia to think about the mission institutions that we have across the country. Nambala itself is one institution that has so many challenges ranging from infrastructure and even resources to keep the mission going and effectively.
And Reverend Musaba pledged the church's continued support to the institution.
We have mission Sundays in our respective congregations, like we have done for other institutions like hospitals where we have donated linen and things like that. Let's put these institutions on the agenda so that we contribute something that will make a difference. Otherwise, we thank God that since 1915, He has been able to touch lives and empower young people and grow them into responsible citizens.
Meanwhile, school head teacher KABWATA says management is facing financial challenges to enable it to renovate and expand the school infrastructure. Nambala Mission School is a co-education and was established in 1915 by the Primitive Methodist missionaries. Alex Shimba, Camnet News, Mombwa District.
This is Camnet News. We take another set of commercials. When we return, we have sports and international news. Stay with us.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Deborah, have you connected to the Wi-Fi on the bus? It's fast, it's amazing. I've just downloaded my books and I'm about to complete the series. It's nice, too.
No, I'm actually watching a reality show. He's about to propose. Oh, so sweet.
Make your trip seem short yet comfortable and safe when you use the UBZ luxurious fully air-conditioned coaches that come fitted with amazing onboard entertainment, passenger information services, coffee-making facilities and fridge for your hot and cold beverages, free and interrupted Wi-Fi for your gadgets, phone charging facilities, comfortable seats that recline to offer extra resting posture, safety seat belts, adjustable reading lights for each traveling client, and of course, clean flushing toilets for your convenience. So travel in luxury and safety with UBZ luxurious coaches. UBZ will always take you there.
From 31st January to 6 February 2022, Zambia's spiritual atmosphere will take a paradigm shift. The Bible says, "Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord."
Zambia, a nation under God conference will be starting at 19:30 hours to 22:30 hours.
Live on Camnet TV channel 274 on DSTV, GoTV channel 98 and Topstar channel 106.
Speakers will be
Bishop Stanley Simnyola, Grace Ministries,
Dr. Nevas Mumba, Victory Ministries,
Apostle Michael Mutemwa from South Africa,
Bishop Nelly Chikwanda, New Life Christian Center,
Apostle Rick Kamwanga, Risen Life Church International,
Bishop Joy Makando, Bread of Life,
Bishop Alex Mwami of Holy Ghost Firehouse from South Africa, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chilua.
Camnet Television,
not just another channel.
Welcome back. In international news, authorities in Burkina Faso say they have blocked access to Facebook for security reasons. Government spokesperson Alkosom Maiga said the government did not have to comment on the cause of the blockade, which began on January 10th and continued. A local radio station quoted the spokesperson as saying government had to choose between letting insecurity spread and taking measures that allow them to maintain a minimum control over the situation. On January 11th, the government announced the arrest of 8 soldiers in connection with the development, which the country's media described as a coup attempt. Internet rights group NetBlock says there is a significant internet outage from January 11th.
On Thursday, authorities in Burkina Faso confirmed they had blocked access to Facebook. In the lead-up to a banned protest, the government spokesperson cited security reasons among the undisclosed motives to justify the move. A protest was planned for Saturday in Ouagadougou, and organizers who owned an active Facebook page planned to call out President Kabore on his failure to quell jihadist violence. You were informed that for security reasons and other concerns of national interest, the government is entitled to pass regulations.
De sécurité et d'autres préoccupations d'intérêt national, le gouvernement est en droit d'opérer des regulations.
Put everything you see in the best interest of the nation and don't necessarily expect the government to have to justify or explain itself. Save Burkina, the group organizing the demonstration, called the decision a violation of the right to protest. We are all aware of the situation we are currently experiencing in our country. I think that if we have the choice between allowing insecurity to spread and taking measures to maintain a minimum of control over the situation, the choice seems clear to me anew that the national interest must be above a particular interests.
Le choix nous paraît clair que l'intérêt national doit être au-dessus de nos intérêts.
Groups linked to Al-Qaeda have plagued the West African nation since 2015. Despite changes in the military leadership, President Kabore still faced protests demanding his resignation.
The armed forces in Mali celebrated on Thursday 61 years since their creation. In a speech, Mali's transitional leader reaffirmed his determination in bringing security and peace to the country. Today we feel a clear improvement in the security framework, and this is due to the various operations that have been launched recently. And these operations are beginning to bear fruit. Therefore, we can only thank and congratulate the commitment of the FAMAs, as well as their partners, who fight daily with bravery and determination to bring security and peace throughout Mali. The interim president faces increasing pressure from ECOWAS countries after the regional bloc closed borders on January 9th as part of economic and diplomatic sanctions. The transitional leader reaffirmed his intention to hold free and credible elections. And these various operations ultimately aim for the return of the state, to create conditions for a secure, peaceful environment, for the organization of free and credible elections. This is conditional on the return to constitutional order. ECOWAS imposed sanctions in response to the junta's refusal to hold promised elections next month.
Tunisian President Kais Saied on Thursday pushed back against criticism by rights groups concerned about the suppression by security forces of a protest in the capital. Police last Friday violently dispersed a rally against Said's July 2021 power grab. Today in Tunisia, freedoms are guaranteed more than ever before. And we want the law to be applied to everyone. A 57-year-old man collapsed during the protest and later died. The opposition, another party, called his death a murder. I say we don't want violence. We reject violence and we reject all abuse from anyone. Officers backed by water cannons charged at demonstrators, fired tear gas and made dozens of violent arrests.
That's it for international news. We go straight into sports news. England will play Ivory Coast in a friendly at Wembley on the 29th of March 2022. Ivory Coast are ranked 56 in the world and are through to the last 16 of the Africa Cup of Nations, having knocked out holders Al Jazeera on Thursday. Their squad boasts the likes of Arsenal's Nicolas Pepe, Ajax Sebastian Haller and Fulham's Jean-Michel. England are already hosting Switzerland on the 26th of March 2022. This will be the first time England have played Ivory Coast at a senior level and the first time Gareth Southgate's side have faced non-European opposition since November 2018. After the two-match friendlies, England will play 4 Nations League games in June with trips to Hungary and Germany, followed by a repeat of Euro 2020 final at home to Italy and the return game with Hungarians. They have already qualified to the World Cup in Qatar, which starts in November. Well, that note ends our news. The headlines once again. A police officer testifies how he witnessed the UPND supporter hack a PF cadre with a machete. Political violence reports ahead of the KABWATA by-election annoy stakeholders. Zambia records 153,000 new HIV infections in 12 months. In international news, Burkina Faso shuts Facebook. In sports, England to play Ivory Coast in a friendly at Wembley. And we now look at the Camnet verse of the day, and it's coming from Matthew 5, verse 7 to 9, and it reads, "The merciful are blessed, for they will be shown mercy. The pure in the heart are blessed, for they will see God. The peacemakers are blessed, for they will be called sons of God." Well, thank you so much for choosing Camnet TV. My name is Sharon Kalimbola. Remember to observe the COVID-19 health guidelines and ensure that you test for HIV as the Minister of Health has entrusted. My name is Sharon Kalimbola once again. Good night.